Thank you for staying with us. The Nigerian government has recently increased the rates and charges for all activities in the mining sector. The Minister of Solid Minerals Development, Dele Alake, made this announcement during a press conference in Abuja. The decision to raise the rates and charges was prompted by concerns over non-remittance by some mining operators who were asking or making significant profits but failing to remit them to the government. The objective of this move is to implement the 7-point agenda and position the mining sector for economic consolidation, according to the federal government. Joining me for more on this is Professor Olatunji Akinade, National President, Nigerian Mining and Geosciences Society. Thank you, Professor, for joining me today.
Thank you for having me. Morning.
Okay, now let's take a look at this. The government claims the new rates sort of aim to discourage speculation, raise revenue, but in your own opinion, how will these increased fees likely impact overall investment in Nigerian mining? Do you see it maybe hindering smaller miners or the larger companies?
Question is a very good question, but not a very straightforward, simple answer. I'm going to take some time to explain some things so as to contextualize my response. Number one, the past rate is no more realistic. That is something everyone in the sector is aware of. That yes, the old rates had stayed for too long, and it was actually due for a renewal or a review, so to say, because some of them are extremely very, very pathetic when you look at the value compared to what you have now. That's the background. But the challenge is, what is the process that was put in place in achieving the new rates? If you look at the new rate announced by the minister, but let me say by the ministry, these rates were based on current values of the mineral products at the market. And basing your rates on the value of the minerals in the market is not taking into reckoning the challenges that are being faced by the operators. We all know that operating now in the country is faced with a lot of challenges. People have to look for resources from everywhere to do their investments. The operational cost, like cost of machineries, diesel, labor, transportation, have also skyrocketed. So it's not about just fixing the amount per se. It's taking into cognizance all the variables that at the end of the day will not just drive people out of their investment, but rather protect them and, of course, ensure that what is due to government also is paid. Now, the question you asked is how will this affect the various operators? Let me tell you the truth. It's going to significantly affect the operators because, as I mentioned to you, the factors that needed to have been considered in arriving at that rate were not properly considered from our point of view. And it's possible they have fixed the rate based on amount of a metric ton. What is the quantum of resources deployed by the operators to get to that metric tons? What is the vagaries of the financial sector that those operators are facing before getting to that metric ton? So at the end of the day, if we are not very careful, we're going to be having many more people defaulting, even from paying this royalty. And of course, a lot of people may even pull out altogether their investment in the sector. So what we are saying is there should have been a much more robust approach into
Professor, let me come in
arriving
here
at the rates.
Let me come in here, Professor. Thank you so much. Okay, so you've been talking about these variables, these conditions you feel should have been considered before arriving at the rates. Could you please talk to us about what these variables are?
Okay, we all know what the cost of diesel is now presently in the market, what a liter of diesel sells for. All operators in the mining sector depend on diesel for their operation. And if diesel alone is taking almost 50-60% of some people's operation cost. Tell me what will be the profit they are going to derive even from their operation. So what I'm saying is that the operational cost encountered by these operators currently is very, very, very prohibitive, especially in terms of energy. Also, we also are aware that mining operation takes place in remote areas of the country, not in the urban center, where there are actually no routes, and getting those materials out of those areas costs a lot of money. So apart from the diesel they use to operate on site, which is taking virtually most of their operation costs, we're also talking about transportation costs to bring those materials even to the people who are going to be the off-takers eventually. So the operators are currently groaning under this kind of economic variables. Of course, it's not only in the mining sector, it's cut across also the other sector. So for their bottom line, they are actually struggling to cope in many instances. A lot of sites have been abandoned because they cannot cope with the current operational costs that is prevalent in the industry.
Okay, Professor.
Really a big deal.
Right, I understand your argument, but what about the government talking about, concerns regarding non-remittance by some operators in the industry? What do you think about that?
Absolutely. No, absolutely. You see, we as a professional society have identified non-remittance of due royalty as one of the gaps through which revenue leakage has been occurring. And what we are saying is the government needs to actually plug those loopholes by deploying appropriately the personnel that is needed to ensure that the operators are properly monitored and what is due to government is properly captured. Currently, I've said this over and over again. We have less boots on the ground in the mine inspectorate division. That is the division in the ministry that is charged with ensuring that operators do what needs to be done in terms of mining activities and payment of the actual royalty. But go through all the 36 or 37 federal mines offices in the state. What is their workforce? Do they have mobility? When they have mobility, do they have the resources to even go into those mining areas to see that the operators actually do what needs to be done? So what should be done first will have been for government to position the mine inspectorate division in the right frame, providing mobility, providing facility for them to do the job, to capture those who are outside the current royalty regime and bring them in. Then you cannot talk about review so as to ensure that those who are not paying can pay. It is illegal and it is criminal for any operator in the industry not to pay royalty. And the only way you can ensure that those royalties are captured is to ensure that the appropriate department is equipped with the necessary tools to be able to do their job properly. And that is one of the things we have been saying. The weak point is that they don't have enough personnel. Number two, they don't have enough mobility, and they don't even have enough grant to run after these guys. Nigeria is a very vast land. Right. And of course, you can imagine a state like Nigeria. I'm sure the entire personnel in the Federal Mines Office, not up to 10 that are professionals. Look at the state like Oyo State. Look at the state like Ogun State. Talk of other states like Borodo and the rest, with vast area where people can be working even without the Federal Mines Officer aware of what they are doing. When they are aware, can they get there? How do they get there?
Well, I guess that's a big question, and definitely we'll get answers to that, Professor. Thank you, Professor Olatunji Akinade, National President, Nigerian Mining and Geosciences Society. Thank you for your time on the show today.
Thank you very much for having me. Thank you.